Hello guys, my name is Dara Parik and today I am teaching you about the subject of database management system. So in this topic, in this video lecture we have to learn about the topic of the joint. Okay. So the join. So the SQL join is used to fetch data from two or more tables, which is a join to appear as a single set of the data. SQL join is used for combining column from two or more tables by using values common to both tables. Join keyword is used to SQL queries for joining two or more tables. So in the first line of that SQL join, we have to tell us about that when we have to get data from the two tables. So at that time we can use the keyword of the join. Like we have to join the two tables and get the data from which we have to get by the some conditions. So at that time we have to use that join. Yes, of course, like when we have some when we have get some product, so one have a product table and some another have a user table, so user can buy some product. So when we have to get the data from like a particular product ID to set whom buy this product, so at that time we have to join the product and the user table and get the data from that product ID or product name, and with the user with the respected of that product ID and that username. So at that time we have to in the result we have to get a third table, which is like to get get the output of from that both table which we have from that product table and as well as that user table. Okay, so there are the four types of the join: inner join, left join, right join, and full join. So the first one is an inner join. So the inner join returns a new tables by combining records that only have the matching values in the both table. So in this figure, it's completely written is that there are the inner like we have two tables like from the both which have a matching value, or we can say that a common values which we have to get into that our output. So here is that syntax of that inner join is an select column name from table name, like inner join, then inner join to the table 2, and then on table 1 dot column name is equals to table 2 dot a column name. Here is that after that on table 1 which column we have to use that, and is equals to which table we have to which have to that column name. So here is the written on that. So then example is a select product ID, product name, and category name from product tables, inner join from that categories which is in a table 2 on a product table to the category ID is equals to categories tables from the category ID. Okay, so here is that one product table which is contained as in a product ID, product name, category ID, and a price which we have in a random amount of the data. And here is that the next one is in a category ID, category name, and the descriptions which we have to call as in a category tables. Okay, so like when we have to like this, like the product ID, product name, and category name from the product table, product ID, category ID from the product table. And the next one is an inner join from the category table is that the product like when we have to join with the when we have to join on that product ID and to the category ID. So here is that the based on that we have to join of the product ID, product name, and a category name. So here is that we don't have any like here is that a product table which can contain as a product ID, product name, category ID, and the price. And the next one is a product ID, category name, and description. But in the example, when we have to got the product ID, product name, and category name from the inner join, product ID and product name is from that product table, and the category name is comes from that category table, which is based on that category ID. So here is that one category one has an beverages. So here is a product name cheese and a chunk which can contain as an category ID one. And here is the category name is an as an beverages from the respective to the character category ID. So here is that first and second both they have an beverages like a beverages as a category name. Okay. So here is that inner joins like that. From the both table which we have the matching value or the common value as an get return as an output. Okay. So that Next is that a left join. So the left join is a keyword that returns all the records from the left table and the matching records from the right table. The result is a zero from the right side if there is a no match. Okay. So here is that like in the figure is that it is a right that which we have in a common value which is in written as an output as well as all the left tables which is in a written as an out. Okay. So here is then syntax then select column name from table name. Here is we have to write a left join onto the which we have to that write onto the table 2 on that table 1 dot column name is equals to table 2 dot column name. So the here is an example of that select customer name column orders from the order ID from customers left join orders on customer ID orders on orders order by customers dot customer name. Here is that we have to return some order which is as some conditions like when we have to give some product as an order as like we have to from that customer table to the customer name. Okay, so here is that a customer table which we have on a column name has a customer ID, customer name, contact name, address, city, postal code, and country. And here is an order table which can contains of that order ID, customer ID, employee ID, order date, and ship date. Okay, so here is that the left join in the we have to the left join on that customer ID. Customer table to the customer ID is equals to orders to that customer ID. Okay, so here is that customer dot customer ID, and here is that orders from that order ID. Okay, so here is that we have to contain as in a customer name as an output like we have an and this here is that and here is that we have to like a customer ID 37 which can have a 10309 or 1030 is an a two customer ID. So here is that two customer ID which we have on a content as in a 10308 order ID. So here is that we have to output as a name as that like the name and that order ID in that first customer name and the last customer name which does not contain an order ID, so it gives written as in a blank. But in that customer ID is already shows that what whoever a customer ID into that our customer name as in a table, so which is in the left side. Here is like customer dot customer ID which is an always be into that left side, so it is an written as an our output. So if there is not any order ID from that customer name one and customer name two, so it is give us to that it is gives us to it right as in a blank. Okay, so that the next one is an a right join. So the right join keyword return all the records from the right table and the matching record from the left table. The result is a zero from the left side if there is a no match. Okay. So there is an of course the join is an given as an a common value or we can send the matching value as an output as well as the right table which we have to give some conditions on the based on some columns. So it is give as in a return. Okay, and if it returns a result as in a zero when there is a no a match from the left side. Yeah, in that above in the example of the left region we have already shows that like the customer name 1 and 3 which is an as a left side is in a present but the right side we do not have an required any data, so it is gives us to the blank. Okay, so same as to that, but it is the right side. Okay. So like the syntax of that right join is that select column name from table name, right join on the table 2 on a table 1 dot column name is equals to table 2 dot column name. Okay. So here is that example of that select orders dot order ID, employees dot last name, employees dot first name from orders to that right join onto that employees on orders dot employee ID is equals to employees employees dot employee ID. Here is that also we can say to the give to them some order is that order by is equals to orders dot order ID. Okay. So here is that we can shows about that example of that right join is that order ID the or like one order ID consists of that order ID, customer ID, employee ID, order date, and ship date. Then the next one is an employee table which can consist of the employee ID, last name, first name, birth date, and the photo. Okay. So like when we have to write this a query on these two tables like that, so we get an example of that order ID, last name, and first name. Here is that the like employee last name and first name, which is and consists from the right side of the table. So here is that in the output we can got either the last name and a first name as in a full data, but order ID is in a left join table. So which is an but in this query we have to apply that right join query. So in that order ID first and three as in a blank. But the second is a data of that same order ID respected last name and first name. So we get an output as an respected order ID. Okay. So here is from that employee tables we have to get the last name and first name as an output. So it is incorrect, and that employee ID is in it too. So here is that so that here is that we have to apply that order ID as that respected customer ID. So as into that second username we have to get a order ID with that respected same of the data, and that and then the another first and third as in no respected order, and so we get as in a blank. Okay. The next one is that a full join. The full join keyword is an returns all the records when there is a match in a left or right join table records. Like we shows that inner joins, which is a return to that common value. The next one is and we can shows about that left join, which is in a returns from the left side of the table. Next we have to shows about that right, John. So here is that we can get as an right table as an output. But in the full John, we have to combine both the tables, which is a return as an output as a common value, a common value as an output, a left side as an output, right side as an output. So it can view that all data from that both tables. Okay. So here is that the syntax is that select column name from table full outer join table 2 on a table 1 column name is equals to table 2 column name where the condition. Here is that example of that select customers dot customer name orders dot order ID from customers full outer join orders on customers dot customer ID is equals to orders dot customer ID and order by customers dot customer name. Okay, so here is that example, like we have one customer ID which consists of the customer ID, customer name, contact name, address, city, postal code, and country. And the next one is an order which can contain of the order ID, customer ID, employee ID, order date, and ship date. So here is an output as and when we have to outer join on that customer name and the order ID from that respective customer in order table. So as we can say is that we have a get as in two columns as an output like the customer name and order ID. Okay, which like first two we have an 10309 and 10310 which is an order ID which does not have any customer name. So it is an written as an null as an output. Same as when we have a to the like on a third customer name which is does not have any order ID, so it can return as an null. So here is that we know that from that function we does not have a return and as any blank output, but it is in a result as a null as an output. Okay. So here is that uh, full four types of that join. So the inner join it can returns only matching value. Left join is in a return only the matching value as well as that left side of the table value. The next one is in the right join. Right join has in return as in a matching value as well as right side of the table as an output. And the full join it is in a return as an matching value as well as left and right both table as an output. Okay, so here is that our topic of that join with the respected type of that. Okay, Thank you.